All right, so as we look at this, the first thing we should ask ourselves, is there a number or a letter that goes into everything? In other words, what is the GCF? What's the greatest common factor? Well, 8 goes into everything, doesn't it? And they all share a what as well? An n. So the first thing I'm going to do is factor out 8n. Okay, because 8n will go into every term. That means I'm going to divide each term by 8n. So when I divide the first term by 8n, I get n squared. The second term by 8n, I get plus 3n. And divide the last term by 8n, and I get minus 10. And that all equals 0. Okay, now the next thing you notice is, okay, what's inside the parentheses right here is a trinomial that's a quadratic one, right? It goes n squared, and then n, and then no variable, right? And so if it factors, it'll factor into two what? Binomials. So I'm going to go ahead and write two binomials. And n times n equals n squared, right? Now let's list the factors of 10. 1 times 10. 2 times 5, and there's the one we want. 5 minus 2 will give me 3. Okay, so I'm going to go plus 5 minus 2. All right, and there's my answer as factored, but I've got to solve it, right? Now, as you look at this very first term, does it have a variable? So I have to set it equal to 0 as well. Notice in the original problem, what's the highest exponent? 3. So the maximum number of solutions I could get is 3. So this will provide a solution, this will provide a solution, and this will provide, so I'm going to have 3 solutions. So I'll say 8n equals 0, n plus 5 equals 0, and n minus 2 equals 0. Okay, let me move all this out of your way. And so what do I need to do with each one of those now? Solve each one. I'll divide by 8 here. And so I have n equals 0. I'll subtract 5 on both sides here. So I have n equals negative 5. And I will add 2 on both sides here. And so I have n equals 2. So my 3 solutions are 0, negative 5, and 2. Now what I want you to do is I want you to take the original equation that we had right here. I want you to take the original equation, and I want you to put it in your calculator for y equals. Now what you're going to do is you're going to go y equals 8x. You're going to have to put x cubed plus 24x squared minus 80x, and you don't put equals 0. Y'all look up at the board. This is what I'm putting in the calculator. And when I put it in like this, y equals all this, you don't put the equals 0 part, because the equals 0 part's accounted for when it equals the x-axis. And you want to see, are these the 3 answers that I get, the ones that we got in the problem? Is this what I get right here? Does the graph cross the x-axis at 0, negative 5, and 2? Now, if it does, so what we're saying is that the graph crosses at negative 5, negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right there, at 0, and at 1, 2. Okay, so my guess, I've not seen the graph, but my guess is the graph does something like this. Is that correct? And so as I look at a calculator, really what happens is this. The graph goes up very sharply and almost out of the screen, way up here, and then it comes back down almost out of the screen and then back up like this. So what you need to do is you need to zoom out to be able to see that. But still our 3 solutions are negative 5, 0, and 2. And if you scroll on your calculator to where that crosses the x-axis, it should cross at about negative 5, at about 0, and about 2. Why don't you use your calculator and check?